Chapter 1: The Rivalry of Pandavas and Kauravas. In the ancient land of Bharata, long before the rise of empires and kingdoms we know today, destiny prepared a tale of blood, honor, and cosmic justice. This was the story of two branches of a royal family, destined to collide in one of the greatest wars humanity has ever remembered, the Kurukshetra War. The throne of the mighty kingdom of Hastinapura was the source of conflict. From the noble king, Shantanu, had sprung a lineage of rulers, each carrying both the burden of dharma, sacred duty, and the weight of human weakness. His descendants would be divided into two rival lines, the Pandavas, sons of King Pandu, and the Kauravas, sons of King Draupadi. The birth of two dynasties. King Pandu, younger brother of Dhritarashtra, was a man of valor. Yet fate cursed him, he could not father children. His queen, Kunti, however, was blessed with a divine mantra, a gift from a sage, that allowed her to summon gods to beget children. Thus, the 5 Pandavas were born, each son bearing the essence of a different deity. Yudhishthira, son of the god of righteousness, Dharma; Bhima, son of the wind god, Vayu, strong as a tempest; Arjuna, son of Indra, lord of storms and battles; Nakula and Sahadeva, twin sons of the Ashvins, gods of beauty and healing. Dhritarashtra, the elder brother, was born blind, unfit in the eyes of law to rule. Yet through his wife Gandhari, he fathered 100 sons. Among them, the eldest was Duryodhana, proud, ambitious, and unrelenting. His closest ally was his brother, Dushasana, both destined to be remembered, not for greatness, but for cruelty. Thus, the palace of Hastinapura, filled with 2 sets of princes, 5 Pandavas as rightful heirs through virtue, and 100 Kauravas, heirs through number and lineage, seeds of rivalry. At first, the Pandavas and Kauravas were raised together under the same roof, taught by the same masters. But jealousy burned in young Duryodhana's heart. He saw how the people adored Yudhishthira for his wisdom, how the soldiers admired Bhima's strength, and how the warriors revered Arjuna's skill with the bow. Their teacher, Drona, trained them all in the art of war. Arjuna shone brighter than any other pupil. He was unmatched in archery, able to strike targets no one else could see. Duryodhana, bitter and envious, swore that he would never allow Arjuna and his brothers to take the throne of Hastinapura. The rivalry soon turned violent. In childhood games, Duryodhana would plot ways to kill Bhima, who was stronger than 100 men. Once, he poisoned Bhima's food and tied him to the bottom of a river. But Bhima, blessed by the god Vayu, survived, his body even stronger than before. This only deepened the hatred between them. The first clash, the animosity, reached the royal court. Grandfather Bhishma, the wise patriarch, tried to keep peace among the princes. He loved both Pandavas and Kauravas as his own blood. Yet even his authority could not cool the flames of envy. Kripa, the court's war master, and Drona, the revered teacher, began to see that the rivalry was no childish quarrel, but a seed of destiny. The fate of Bharata trembled upon the fragile balance between the two sides. The final spark came during a martial display before the people of Hastinapura. Each prince demonstrated his skill. Bhima broke maces with ease. Nakula and Sahadeva dazzled with swordplay. Yudhishthira showed calm judgment, and Arjuna performed miracles with his bow, hitting invisible targets with arrows that sang like thunder. Not to be outdone, Duryodhana stepped forward, muscles tensed with pride, wielding his mighty mace. The crowd roared as he clashed against Bhima in a duel that shook the arena. Sparks flew as iron struck iron, and the two warriors fought with the fury of storms. The duel nearly ended in bloodshed before the elders stopped it, their voices trembling with fear. It was then that everyone realized this was no simple rivalry. It was the beginning of a war written in the stars. Whispers of destiny. The gods themselves watched from the heavens. The conflict between Pandavas and Kauravas was not merely a family feud, it was cosmic balance in motion. The forces of dharma and adharma, righteousness and unrighteousness, were gathering for an inevitable clash. Krishna, prince of the Yadavas, cousin to both families, already foresaw the storm to come. In his divine vision, he knew that the battlefield of Kurukshetra would one day be soaked in blood, a stage where the fate of gods and men would be decided. But for now, in the grand halls of Hastinapura, the rivalry smoldered like a fire beneath ashes. The Pandavas and Kauravas grew into men, yet their hearts carried old wounds, jealousy, and ambition. Soon, this fire would consume kingdoms, and the first spark would come not from war, but from a game of chance, a game that would seal the Pandavas' fate and lead them toward exile, betrayal, and ultimately, the greatest battle ever fought. Chapter 2. The Game of Dice. The palace of Hastinapura glittered with jewels, gold, and echoes of ancient glory. Yet behind its walls, envy brewed like poison in a goblet. The Pandavas, beloved by the people and blessed by the gods, prospered with wisdom and strength. Yudhishthira, the eldest, shone with righteousness, his rule marked by fairness and compassion. But Duryodhana could not bear it. His pride was wounded by the love the people showed to the Pandava. In his heart, he burned with a single thought: they must be destroyed. The Palace of Illusions. After conquering distant lands, Yudhishthira built a wondrous palace in Indraprastha, marvel designed by the divine architect Maya. Its walls shimmered like crystal, floors reflected like mirrors, and corridors tricked the eyes with illusions. It was a palace meant to rival the heavens themselves. When Duryodhana visited, he was humiliated. Mistaking reflective floors for water, he lifted his robes to cross them. Believing shallow pools were solid ground, he stumbled and fell headlong into the water. Laughter erupted from the Pandavas and their queen, Draupadi, whose beauty rivaled the dawn. Her words, sharp as arrows, cut into Duryodhana's pride. The blind son of a blind king, no wonder he cannot see the truth. These words pierced deeper than any blade. Duryodhana's shame curdled into hatred. He swore that Draupadi and the Pandavas would pay dearly for this insult. The deceitful invitation. In the shadows of Hastinapura, Duryodhana conspired with his cunning uncle Shakuni, a master of dice whose hands rolled destiny itself. Shakuni's dice were carved from the bones of his ancestors, enchanted to obey his will. With them, no game was ever fair. Shakuni whispered into Duryodhana's ear, "Invite Yudhishthira to a game of dice. His weakness is not war, it is gambling. He cannot resist the call of fate. With these dice, we will strip him of everything." The plan was set. King Dhritarashtra, blind in sight and in judgment, gave his consent, swayed by his love for his sons. Messengers were sent. The Pandavas received the invitation. Yudhishthira hesitated. He knew his weakness. His heart yearned for the thrill of dice, for the turn of fortune. But he also knew refusing an invitation from the royal court would be seen as dishonor. Bound by duty, he accepted. Thus, the Pandavas walked willingly into the snare. The fatal game, the great hall of Hastinapura, filled with nobles, warriors, and sages. At the center, stood the ivory board of dice. Duryodhana watched with hunger in his eyes, Shakuni with a smile of deceit, and Dhritarashtra sat upon his throne, blind yet complicit. The first roll was made. Yudhishthira wagered gold, jewels, and horses. Shakuni cast the dice. They danced, clicked, and fell exactly as he desired. Yudhishthira lost. Again, he wagered chariots, elephants, palaces. Again, the dice betrayed him. Sweat beaded his brow, yet his hand trembled with desire. The crowd murmured. Draupadi's eyes filled with dread. Arjuna, Bhima, Nakula, and Sahadeva urged restraint, but Yudhishthira's dharma-bound sense of honor chained him to the game. "I cannot leave the field until fate has spoken," he whispered. He wagered his kingdom Indraprastha itself. The dice rolled. Shakuni laughed. The kingdom was lost, but Shakuni was not finished. "What else will you wager, O king?" Yudhishthira's pride was now a trap. He staked his brothers first, Nakula, then Sahadeva, then mighty Arjuna, then Bhima, strongest of men. Each fell with the turn of the dice. Gasps filled the hall. The Pandavas, the pride of Bharata, had become slaves. Shakuni's voice slithered through the chamber. "Do you still have something left to wager, Yudhishthira's?" Yudhishthira's heart was torn, but his obsession blinded him. Finally, with a voice that shook with despair, he wagered the unthinkable Draupadi, their queen. The dice rolled. Shakuni's eyes gleamed. Draupadi was lost. The humiliation of Draupadi, with cruel laughter. Duryodhana ordered his brother Dushasana to bring Draupadi into the hall. She was dragged by her hair, her cries echoing through the palace. Her garments torn, her dignity assaulted. She was cast before the court like spoils of war. She cried out, "How can a man who has already lost himself wager his wife? Am I not a queen, not a human soul? Am I mere property to be gambled away?" Her words struck the hall like thunder, yet no one moved. The elders, Bhishma and Drona, lowered their heads, bound by silence and fear. Dhritarashtra remained blind not only in sight, but in justice. Duryodhana, consumed by arrogance, mocked Draupadi and struck his thigh, calling her to sit upon it. The hall shook with outrage, but none dared act. Then Dushasana, drunk with cruelty, attempted to strip Draupadi of her robes. She lifted her arms to the heavens and prayed with all her soul, "O Krishna, savior of the help." And in that moment, a miracle occurred. Each time her garment was pulled away, another appeared in its place. An endless stream of cloth flowed, covering her in divine protection. Dushasana pulled until his strength was spent, but Draupadi remained untouched. The hall fell silent, trembling with awe. It was clear the gods themselves stood with her. The oath of vengeance. Bhima roared like a lion, his eyes blazing with fury. "By my vow, I will one day drink Dushasana's blood and shatter Duryodhana's thigh for this insult." Arjuna, though calm, placed his hand upon his bow and swore to unleash his arrows upon the Kauravas when the time came. The twins, Nakula and Sahadeva, swore their vengeance as well. In that moment, the war of Kurukshetra was sealed not by armies, not by kings, but by a single game of dice and the humiliation of a queen. Dhritarashtra, fearing the wrath of the gods, attempted to mend the wound. He granted the Pandavas their freedom and restored their kingdom. But Duryodhana's schemes were not over. Another game of dice would soon be played, and this time it would send the Pandavas into exile for 13 long years, wandering forests, gathering allies, and preparing for the war that destiny demanded. Chapter 3: the exile of the Pandavas. The echo of dice still haunted the halls of Hastinapur. Though Dhritarashtra had restored the Pandavas' freedom and kingdom after Draupadi's humiliation, Duryodhana's pride refused to rest. His envy burned brighter than ever, and Shakuni's cunning whispered again, "One more game, my son. This time, let us bind them, not in chains of shame, but in the chains of exile. Once they are gone, nothing will stand between you and the throne." The second game, reluctantly, Yudhishthira was summoned again to the hall. He knew the trap, yet bound by the rigid laws of dharma, he could not refuse. A Kshatriya must answer a challenge, even if doom awaited. The board was laid, the dice were rolled. Shakuni's sorcery never faltered. In mere moments, Yudhishthira lost once more. This time, the wager was harsher. 13 years of exile. For 12 years, the Pandavas would roam the forests like outcasts, and the 13th must be spent in disguise, hidden from discovery. Should they be found, the cycle would begin again. The sentence was pronounced. The Pandavas had lost everything once more. The departure. The 5 brothers, with Draupadi at their side, left Indraprastha in silence. No jewels adorned them, no chariots bore them forth, only simple garments and weapons. The people of the city wept, their beloved rulers cast out into wilderness, while the throne was poisoned by greed. As they crossed the gates, Bhima clenched his fists, his voice trembling with fury. "I swear upon this earth, when we return, the Kauravas will drown in their own blood." Arjuna Komar looked to the horizon. "Let patience be our weapon for now. We will return, not in defeat, but in thunder." Yudhishthira walked at the front, solemn, his face carved with sorrow, yet unbroken. He carried the burden of guilt, knowing his weakness, for dice had cost his family everything. Draupadi walked with them, her head high, her dignity intact despite her suffering. Life in the forest. The Pandavas wandered through dense jungles, across rivers and mountains. The once royal brothers now slept beneath trees, ate roots and berries, and dressed in deep. Yet the forest became their sanctuary. They sought wisdom from sages, who blessed them with divine knowledge and weapons. The mighty Rishi Vyasa, their grandsire, visited them often, reminding them that exile was not defeat, but preparation. In the wild, Bhima hunted beasts with his bare hands, his roars echoing through the woods. Arjuna devoted himself to the bow, practicing until his arrows split trees and pierced the heavens. Nakula and Sahadeva mastered the art of herbs and healing, aiding wandering hermits. Draupadi, though born a queen, endured every hardship with grace, her heart burning with vengeance, but her spirit unyielding. Yudhishthira, though burdened by guilt, sought refuge in wisdom. He listened to sages, spoke with saints, and strengthened his resolve to follow dharma, even in exile. The visit of Krishna. One day, Krishna, the dark-skinned lord of wisdom and destiny, came to the forest to visit them. His presence brought light to their gloom. "Do not despair, cousins," he said, his voice like flowing rivers. "The wheel of fate turns slowly, but it turns surely. The Kauravas rejoice now, but their laughter will end in tears. You shall rise, stronger than ever, and the world will know your glory. Until then, endure, prepare, for destiny has chosen you." Draupadi fell at his feet and cried, "O Krishna, why must we suffer when the wicked rule? Why must dharma bow before adharma?" Krishna's gaze was deep and unshaken. "Because, Draupadi, the world must see the full weight of adharma before it crumbles. The war to come will not be for kingdoms alone, but for the very balance of righteousness. Your pain will ignite the fire of justice. Trials and temptations, the years in exile, tested them in ways battle never could. They faced demons of the forest, Rakshasas with fangs like swords, and temptations of despair. Draupadi was once nearly abducted by the Rakshasa Kikaka, but Bhima crushed him in battle, tearing his body apart as one rends a tree. They also faced the curse of hunger, the sting of loneliness, and the whispers of doubt. At times, Draupadi's anger boiled over. Why did you gamble us away, Yudhishthira? Why do we suffer for your weakness? Yudhishthira bowed his head in silence, bearing her words like arrows. Yet his faith in Dharma never faltered. He believed their suffering was part of a greater plan, the promise of return. The 12th year drew to a close. The Pandavas had endured storms and battles, hunger and humiliation. Yet they emerged stronger, sharper, and united. Now remained the final test, the 13th year of hiding. They must vanish into the world, disguising themselves so that no one, not even Duryodhana, could find them. Failure meant beginning the cycle again. The brothers gathered by the river one night, the moon, silver, above them. Bhima's fists struck the ground, cracking the earth. 1 year more, brothers. 1 year, and then we rise. Arjuna lifted his bow toward the sky. The Kauravas have stolen our honor. When we return, I will rain arrows upon their army until the sun itself trembles. Draupadi's eyes blazed with fire. I will not wash my hair until it is stained with Dushasana's blood. I will not know peace until the earth drinks of our enemies' ruin. And Yudhishthira, standing tall despite the weight of fate, declared, "Let it be written in the stars, we shall endure, and when we return, Dharma will triumph. The dice that once bound us shall become the fire that frees us." Thus ended the 12 years of exile. Ahead lay the year of disguise, the final step before destiny unleashed the greatest war the world had ever known. Chapter 4. The Year of Disguise. The 12th year of exile had ended. The Pandavas had endured hunger, humiliation, and the trials of the forest. Now came the 13th and final test, to live in disguise for 1 year, hidden from the eyes of the If discovered, they would return to exile once more. Failure was not an option. Victory required cunning, greater than Shakuni's, patience deeper than Yudhishthira's, and restraint stronger than Bhima's rage. Choosing the disguise, one evening, the brothers sat beneath a great banyan tree, the moon spilling silver across their weary faces. "Where shall we hide, and what roles shall we play?" asked Arjuna, his hand resting on his bow. Yudhishthira replied, calm but firm, "We must enter the kingdom of Virata. He is a noble king, and within his halls we can find refuge. But each of us must assume a form no one can recognize. Only then will the year pass in safety." One by one, they chose their disguises. Yudhishthira, the king of Dharma, would become Kanka, a humble advisor skilled in dice and wisdom. Bhima, mighty as a lion, would become Balava, the palace cook, hiding his strength behind pots and pans. Arjuna, proud warrior, faced the hardest test. Cursed by Ayurvashi to live as a eunuch for a year, he became Brianala, a teacher of dance and music to the women of the court. Nakula, lover of horses, became Granthika, the royal horsekeeper. Sahadeva, wise in cattle, became Tantapala, the keeper of the herds. And Draupadi, queen of fire, became Sarandri, a maid to Queen Sudesh. Thus, the Pandavas buried their pride beneath masks of humility, stepping into a world where they could not reveal who they truly were. The palace of Virata. The kingdom of Matsya welcomed them. King Virata, though unaware of their true identity, received them kindly. The Pandavas blended into the rhythm of palace life. Yudhishthira, as Kanka, advised the king in games of dice, never boasting, always humble. Bhima, though disguised as a cook, sometimes displayed strength by lifting cauldrons no man could move. Arjuna, now Brihanala, taught the princess Uttara the art of song and dance. The court laughed at his strange mannerisms, never knowing they mocked the greatest archer alive. Nakula tended horses with unmatched care, and Sahadeva guarded the royal cattle with a shepherd's wisdom. Draupadi, adorned in simple clothes, became the queen's maid, her fiery spirit concealed. But for months they lived this way, shadows among mortals, their true selves hidden beneath veils. The trial of Draupadi. But even in disguise, fate tested them. The queen's brother, Kikaka, commander of Virata's armies, was a man of arrogance and lust. His eyes fell upon Draupadi, and he desired her. "Who is this maid with the eyes of fire?" he whispered. "No servant could hold herself with such pride. I will have her." Draupadi, horrified, resisted. She turned to Queen Sudeshna for protection, but even the queen trembled before her brother's power. One night, Kikaka cornered Draupadi in the palace hall. She cried for help, her voice echoing through the corridors. The Pandavas heard, but bound by disguise, they could not reveal themselves until Draupadi came to Bhima. "Oh Balava," she pleaded, "you are more than a cook. You are my protector, my vengeance. Slay this beast, or I will no longer endure." Bhima's eyes blazed. That night, he lured Kikaka to a dark chamber, pretending to be Draupadi, waiting for him. When Kikaka entered, Bhima rose like a storm. The walls shook as they battled Kikaka's strength against Bhima's fury. With a roar, Bhima crushed him, breaking his bones like dry sticks. The commander's screams filled the night until silence fell. When the people found Kikaka's shattered body the next morning, fear gripped the kingdom. None dared question Draupadi again. The cattle raid, as the year neared its end, fate struck again. The Kauravas, still suspicious, sought to expose the Pandavas. They allied with the Trigardas, fierce raiders, and attacked King Virata's kingdom, stealing his cattle. The king and his men marched to defend their herds, leaving the city vulnerable. But the Trigardas struck again, this time at the heart of Virata's palace. Only Brihanalada, disguised Arjuna, remained to defend the city. The young prince, Uttara, eager for glory, begged Brihanala to guide him. "You are but a eunuch, what can you do?" the prince mocked. Arjuna smiled, his eyes sharp with hidden fire. "Take me to the battlefield, young prince, and you will see the truth of who I am." Arjuna revealed. Together, they rode to the outskirts of the kingdom, where Arjuna revealed the weapons hidden in a Tritha, divine Gandiva bow, gifted by the gods, and his inexhaustible quivers. The moment his hands touched Gandiva, the air trembled. His disguise fell, his true form blazing forth. "I am Arjuna, son of Indra, wielder of Gandiva. Watch now, as the heavens themselves bend before my arrows." The battle began. Alone, Arjuna rained arrows upon the Trigarda army. His shafts struck like thunderbolts, cutting down warriors by the hundreds. He split chariots in half, blinded elephants, and sent horses fleeing in terror. The Kauravas, stunned by his fury, realized too late the Pandavas had survived their exile. When the dust cleared, Arjuna stood victorious, his bow gleaming like lightning. The cattle were returned, and King Virata's kingdom was saved. The year completed, the 13th year ended. The Pandavas had endured humiliation, survived betrayal, crushed enemies, and kept their vow. They emerged from exile stronger, fiercer, and more determined than ever. In the halls of King Virata, they revealed their true identities. The court gasped, and the king fell at their feet. "Forgive us, O sons of Pandu. You are no servants, no outcasts, you are rulers, heroes, chosen by destiny itself." And so, the Pandavas prepared to reclaim what was stolen. But the Kauravas, unwilling to yield, would force the world into the greatest war it had ever known. Chapter 5: The Call for Peace. The 13th year was over. The Pandavas had endured every trial, lived in disguise, and emerged victorious. Their vows fulfilled, they now sought to reclaim their rightful kingdom. But the Kauravas would not yield. Duryodhana's heart burned with envy. Even after hearing of Arjuna's return, even after Bhima's slaying of Kikuka, even after seeing that fate itself protected the sons of Pandu still, the council of the Pandavas. In King Virata's palace, the Pandavas gathered in council. Yudhishthira, eldest of the brothers, spoke first. "We have kept our vows. Our exile is complete. By dharma, the kingdom must now return to us. But if Duryodhana will not yield, what path shall we take?" Bhima rose, his eyes blazing. "There is no path but war. Too long have we suffered their insults. I will tear open Duryodhana's chest and drink his blood, as Draupadi once vowed. Enough of patience, let us march to Hastinapura now." But Arjuna Komar shook his head. "War will bring rivers of blood. Armies will fall, fathers and sons alike. Oh, Yudhishthira, you are the voice of dharma. Let us try peace first. If Duryodhana yields even 5 villages, we can avoid the destruction of the world." Draupadi spoke next, her voice like fire. "They humiliated me in the hall of dice. They dragged me by the hair, they mocked me before the elders. Do you think they will ever give us peace? No, my lords. Their hearts are poisoned. They will not yield even a needle's point of land." The hall fell silent, torn between hope and vengeance. Finally, Yudhishthira declared, "We shall send an envoy. If there is any chance to avoid slaughter, we must try. And who better than Krishna himself, friend of both sides, Lord of wisdom and truth?" Thus, the Pandavas placed their fate in the hands of Krishna, the dark-eyed god who walked among men. Krishna's journey. Krishna, charioteer of Arjuna, protector of Dharma, set out for His chariot rolled across plains and rivers, its wheels singing of destiny. In the Kuru court, Duryodhana sat upon the throne, surrounded by Karna, Shakuni, and the elders, Bhishma, Drona, and Vidura. All awaited the envoy of peace. Krishna entered the hall, his presence radiant. Even the torches seemed to bow before him. "O sons of Kuru," Krishna began, his voice both gentle and commanding, "I come not for war, but for peace. The Pandavas have suffered exile, humiliation, and hardship. Their vow is complete. Return to them what is theirs, and avoid the ruin of your house." The court murmured. Bhishma lowered his head in shame. Vidru nodded with hope, and even Drona's heart wavered. But Duryodhana's laughter cut through the hall. "Peace. You speak of peace, but I will not give them as much land as will fit on the point of a needle. Shall I, born a king, hand over my throne like a beggar's alms? Never." Krishna's eyes flashed. "Duryodhana, pride blinds you. Your arrogance will destroy not only yourself, but all who follow you. I offer you peace today, but if you reject it, war will come, and the earth will drink the blood of kings." Duryodhana rose, defiance blazing in his voice. Then let the earth drink, let the world burn. I was born to rule, and rule I shall. If they want war, war they will have. The failed envoy, the court divided. Bhishma, ancient warrior and guardian of dharma, turned to Duryodhana. My son, listen to Krishna. Yield at least 5 villages. Do not bring destruction upon us all. But Duryodhana spat back, even if all of you command me, I will not bow to the Pandavas. Karna stood beside him, loyal as ever. I too reject their claim. They lost their kingdom by the dice. It is ours now by right of victory. Let them face us in battle, if they dare. Shakuni, smiling like a serpent, whispered, war will only finish what we began in the hall of dice. Vidura, heartbroken, turned to Krishna. O Madhava, you see now the folly of Duryodhana. His ears are closed to wisdom. The path of peace is lost. Krishna sighed. He had come to save them from themselves, but fate was stronger than reason. The revelation, before leaving, Krishna revealed a glimpse of his divine form. His body expanded, his eyes became suns, his arms infinite, his voice the roar of creation. The court trembled, blinded by the vision. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all things. I am life, I am death, I am destiny itself. If you choose war, know this, the Pandavas are under my protection. No force on heaven or earth can defeat them. Some fell to their knees in worship. Others hid their eyes in terror. But Duryodhana's pride remained unshaken. Enough of illusions, Krishna. Your tricks will not sway me. Let the dice fall, as they must war, it shall be. Return to the Pandavas. Krishna returned to Virata's court, his face grave. I offered peace, but Duryodhana rejected it. He will not yield even 5 villages. Prepare yourselves, O sons of Pandavas. The time for patience is over. The time for Kurukshetra has come. The Pandavas bowed their heads. Their hope for peace was shattered. Bhima clenched his fists. Draupadi's eyes burned with vengeance, and Arjuna's heart prepared for the war of ages. Yudhishthira, though sorrowful, lifted his gaze. If war is our destiny, then let it be a war for we shall not fight for power, but for justice. May the truth guide our arrows, and may the world remember our cause. Thus ended the last chance for peace. The drums of Kurukshetra began to beat, echoing across kingdoms, summoning kings, warriors, and gods alike. The greatest war of the age was about to begin. Chapter 6: The Gathering of Armies. The message of Krishna had returned, like a thunderclap, to the Pandavas. There would be no peace. Duryodhana had rejected every offer, and now the world itself prepared to split into 2, brother against brother, teacher against student, friend against friend. The earth shuddered as destiny moved toward Kurukshetra. The call to allies. The Pandavas sat in council, led by Yudhishthira. If war is to come, he said, voice solemn, then we must call upon every ally bound to us by friendship or marriage. The Kauravas will do the same. Soon, the rulers of Bharat will choose their side. Arjuna spoke. We must go to Krishna once more, not as peacemaker, but to ask his aid. His power is unmatched, his wisdom greater than all. Whichever side he blesses will surely prevail. So, Arjuna rode with Duryodhana, unknown to the other, on the same quest to the city of Dwaraka, home of Krishna. The choice of Krishna. Krishna was resting when the 2 princes arrived. Arjuna, with humility, stood at his feet. Duryodhana, proud as always, sat near Krishna's head, hoping to be seen first. When Krishna awoke, his gaze fell first upon Arjuna. Smiling, he welcomed both and said, I see you both seek my aid, but I cannot give my strength to both. Thus I offer a choice. On one side, my Narayan Senanan army of countless warriors, fierce and unmatched. On the other, myself alone, unarmed, vowing not to lift a weapon in this war. Choose, O princes. Duryodhana's eyes lit up. Without hesitation, he cried, I choose the Narayan Sena. An army of such might will crush our foes. Arjuna bowed his head and said with serenity, Then I choose you, O Krishna. Even unarmed, your presence is greater than 1,000 armies. I desire not your weapons, but your guidance. Krishna smiled, for destiny had spoken. So be it. My army shall serve Duryodhana, but I shall be Arjuna's charioteer. In this way, the world will see where true power lies not in numbers, but in the world divides. Soon, messengers rode across the lands of kings, chieftains, and clans received calls from both sides. The mighty began to declare where their loyalty lay. With the Pandavas came Draupadi, king of Panchala, father of Draupadi. His son, Drishtadumna, born from fire, vowed to slay Drona himself. From the south came Shikandi, child of Drupada, destined to face From far kingdoms came allies, bound by respect for Yudhishthira's dharma. With the Kauravas came Karna, the invincible archer, who swore never to abandon the mighty Bhishma, bound by his vow to protect the throne of Hastinapura, though his heart grieved. Drona, teacher of both Pandavas and Kauravas, compelled by loyalty to the crown. Shakuni, ever the schemer, whispering deceit into Duryodhana's ear. Each king who joined shifted the balance of fate, and as the earth trembled beneath the march of elephants and chariots, the field of Kurukshetra grew heavy with the weight of destiny. Bhishma named commander. In Hastinapura's court, the Kauravas gathered to choose their commander. Duryodhana spoke before the assembly. We have many warriors, Karna, Drona, Ashwatthama, but, above all, there is Bhishma, son of Ganga, whose valor is unmatched. Let him lead our armies. Bhishma, his hair silver, his eyes full of sorrow, rose and declared, I am bound to fight for Hastinapura, though my heart does not thirst for war. Hear me now, princes of Kuru. As long as I live, none shall defeat this army. But know, this sigh will not strike at Shikandi, for in him lies my destiny. Duryodhana accepted, though unease flickered in his eyes. The oath of Karna, Karna, ever proud, refused to fight under Bhishma's command. I will not stand in battle while Bhishma leads. His scorn for me is well known, and I will not endure it. Only when Bhishma falls will I enter the war. Thus, the Kauravas lost their greatest warrior's strength at the very beginning, though fate had already woven this path. The Pandavas prepare. Meanwhile, in Virata's court, Yudhishthira named Drishtadumna commander of their forces. The son of fire bowed deeply. By destiny I was born to slay Drona. I shall lead with all my strength. Bhima prepared his mace, vowing to break Duryodhana. Arjuna strung his Gandiva bow, its twang like thunder. Nakula and Sahadeva readied their swords and spears. Draupadi prayed to the gods for justice. And Krishna, serene yet resolute, stood beside Arjuna. The hour draws near. Remember, Arjuna, this is not a battle for land or riches, it is the struggle of dharma against adharma. In this war, the soul of Bharat will be decided. The field of Kurukshetra, the armies marched. Chariots rolled like rivers of iron. Elephants trumpeted like mountains alive. Conch shells echoed across the sky, announcing the gathering of kings. On the sacred plain of Kurukshetra, The two greatest armies the world had ever seen faced each other. Millions stood ready, each life a spark, soon to be extinguished in the fire of war. And yet, the silence before the storm was deeper than the roar of battle itself. For all knew the fate of gods and men would be written here. Chapter 7. The Oaths of the Warriors. The plain of Kurukshetra stretched endlessly beneath the rising sun. To seas of men and beasts faced one another, an ocean of banners, weapons, and restless hearts. Yet before the first arrow could be loosed, each warrior of renown stepped forward to declare his oath, binding his honor and destiny to the war. It was not only armies that clashed, here it was vows, promises, and the weight of fate itself. Bhishma's oath. The first to rise was Bhishma, commander of the Kaurava host. His silver hair gleamed beneath his armor, and his voice rolled like thunder across the field. Hear me, O kings and princes. I am Bhishma, son of Ganga, the guardian of Hastinapura. As long as I draw breath, this army shall not be broken. No warrior alive can defeat me in single combat. Yet know this, I shall not lift my weapons against Shikhandi, for fate binds me otherwise. Only through him may my fall come. His words sent murmurs through both camps. The Pandavas exchanged glances, for in Bhishma's vow lay the seed of his undoing. Drona's vow. Next stood Drona, teacher of both Pandavas and Kauravas, his face heavy with sorrow. I am bound by loyalty to Hastinapura, he declared. Though I taught both sides, my duty lies here. To the Pandavas, I say this: forgive your master, for my bow must point against you. And to Drishtadyumna, son of fire, know that though destiny proclaims you my slayer, I shall fight with all my might until that hour comes. Drishtadyumna's eyes burned with fire. He raised his sword and cried, by that same destiny, O teacher, your fall is certain. I was born for this purpose, and I shall fulfill it. Karna's fury. Though Karna had sworn not to fight under Bhishma's command, he would not remain silent. Stepping forth, his armor gleaming like the sun, he raised his voice. I am Karna, son of a charioteer, mocked and scorned all my life. Yet I stand as the equal of Arjuna in skill and valor. I vow before this assembly, I shall slay Arjuna or fall by his hand. None shall turn me from this oath, not even the gods. The Pandava camp stirred at his words. Arjuna, yet fierce, lifted his Gandiva and answered across the field. Karna, your words are bold, but your arrows will find no victory. If fate decrees, then on this field shall your pride be broken. The tension between the two blazed brighter than the sun itself, a duel written long before either was born. Duryodhana's oath. Duryodhana himself now stood tall, mace in hand, his voice full of arrogance. This kingdom is mine by birthright, and none shall wrest it from me. Bhima, hear me well. You who crushed my brothers in play, you who swore to break my vow this day that I shall slay you upon this field. My mace shall shatter your bones, and the throne of Hastinapura shall remain mine forever. Bhima laughed, a sound like a lion's roar. Duryodhana, son of blind ambition, I too swore an oath to drink your blood and end your tyranny. On this field, I shall break you as one breaks a rotten tree. Mark my words, the earth itself shall rejoice when you fall. Their rivalry, long burning, now blazed into a fire that nothing could extinguish. Shikhandi's oath. Then Shikhandi, clad in shining armor, raised his voice, eyes locked upon Bhishma. I was born for one purpose alone, to bring about your death, Bhishma. You wronged me in a life past, and destiny has returned me for vengeance. I vow that your fall shall come by my hand, and no vow, no might, no god shall save you." Bhishma, hearing this, only bowed his head. "So be it. Fate has spoken." Arjuna's oath. At last Arjuna stepped forward, his Gandiva bow in hand, Krishna beside him as charioteer. His voice was calm, yet carried the certainty of destiny. "I am Arjuna, son of Pandu, protector of Dharma. I vow that on this battlefield I shall strike down all who stand against righteousness. Karna, Drona, Bhishma, Duryodhana, all shall fall by my arrows. If they stand in the way of justice, and should I falter, let the earth swallow me instead." Krishna placed his hand upon Arjuna's shoulder, smiling gently. "The world shall witness your glory. Your arrows shall burn brighter than the sun, for Dharma itself guides your bow." The echo of vows, one by one, other warriors raised their voices. Wash washes, wash washes, washes, washes washes, washes washes, to Lashin Munjans, proclaiming his fiery destiny, and countless kings pledging loyalty. The air itself seemed to thicken with their oaths, as though the gods above leaned closer to hear. Thunder rolled in the heavens, though no storm clouds gathered, for every vow spoken bound the warriors to a fate none could escape. The silence before battle. When the last oath had been spoken, a silence fell across Kurukshetra. Two armies stood ready, each bound by promises of blood. The conch of Bhishma sounded deep and terrible, and was answered by Krishna as divine Panchajanya, its note pure and unshakable. The clash of vows had ended. The clash of steel was about to begin. And so, the greatest war of all ages stood at the threshold, its flames kindled by the words of men who could not turn back. Chapter 8. The Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna's doubt, and Krishna's revelation. The sun climbed higher, casting golden fire across the plain of Kurukshetra. The two armies, like restless oceans, waited for the first wave to crash. Warriors stood poised with bows strung, swords drawn, and elephants stamping in fury. The air shook with the sound of conchs and war drums. Yet at the heart of the Pandava host, one man faltered. Arjuna's doubt. Arjuna, greatest of archers, stood upon his chariot, Gandiva bow in hand. Before him stretched the countless warriors of the Kaurava host, teachers who had once guided him, cousins who had played beside him, uncles, friends, and kin bound by blood. His heart quivered as though pierced by his own arrows. He turned to Krishna, his charioteer, and his voice trembled. "Krishna, my friend, my soul is torn. I see before me Bhishma, who raised me as a child. I see Drona, who taught me the very art of war. And I see my cousins, bound by the same blood as I. How can I raise my bow against them? If I slay them, what joy will victory bring? Kingdom, power, glory, all will be stained with the blood of my kin. Better to lay down my arms and let them strike me, than to win at such a price." His Gandiva slipped from his hand, falling heavy upon the floor of the chariot. Tears welled in his eyes, and he sank into despair. Krishna's first answer. Krishna looked upon Arjuna, his smile calm, his eyes deep as eternity. "Partha," he said gently, "this sorrow of yours is unworthy of a warrior. It is not fitting for one who upholds Dharma. Stand, rise, cast off this weakness that clouds your spirit." But Arjuna shook his head. "You do not understand, Krishna. My heart is torn. How can Dharma demand that I slay those I love? Would it not be better to abandon battle and live in the forest as a beggar than to gain a kingdom by slaughter?" The revelation begins. Then Krishna's smile grew wider, his voice taking on a tone that seemed to come from beyond mortal time. Arjuna, listen well. You grieve for those who should not be grieved. The wise do not mourn the living nor the dead, for the soul is eternal, beyond sword, beyond flame, beyond death itself. As a man casts off worn garments and takes on new, so does the soul cast off the body and take on another. These warriors, you see, they are not truly slain when the body falls. Life and death are but doors in the eternal journey. Arjuna lifted his gaze, astonishment flickering in his eyes. Duty and dharma, Krishna's voice thundered, now filling Arjuna's heart with both fire and peace. You are a warrior, born of Kshatriya blood. To protect dharma, to fight for justice, this is your sacred duty. To abandon it is to embrace dishonor, worse than death. What is shame compared to sacrifice? What is fear compared to righteousness? Rise, Arjuna. Let not your heart falter. Perform your duty, but surrender the fruits of your action. Desire not victory nor defeat, joy nor sorrow. Act only for dharma, and you shall be free. The vision of yoga. Still, Arjuna wavered, torn between compassion and duty. Krishna's eyes shone with divine brilliance, and he spoke of the paths of yoga. There are many ways to reach the eternal through wisdom, through devotion, through selfless action. But, above all, surrender yourself to the Supreme, and you shall be unshaken. Arjuna whispered, but Krishna, who are you, to speak such words as if you are beyond man? The cosmic revelation. At that moment, the veil of the world trembled. Krishna revealed his true form, the Vishvarupa, the cosmic form. Arjuna beheld countless faces, countless arms, suns blazing in every eye, universes born and destroyed within Krishna's body. The battlefield itself seemed to vanish, replaced by endless galaxies swirling in the radiance of the infinite. He saw all warriors rushing into Krishna's blazing mouths, consumed like rivers pouring into the ocean of time. Trembling, Arjuna fell to his knees. O Lord of the universe, you are beyond birth and death. You are creation, preservation, and destruction itself. Forgive me, for I did not know who you truly are. Krishna's voice rang like thunder. I am time, the destroyer of worlds. All these warriors are already slain by destiny. You are but the instrument, Arjuna. Rise, fulfill your role, and let dharma be restored. Arjuna's resolve. Tears fell from Arjuna's eyes, but they were no longer of despair, they were of clarity. He bowed deeply, his hands joined. O Krishna, my doubts are gone, my heart is steady. I see now that I am but a warrior of dharma. I shall rise, I shall fight. Command me, and I shall obey. Krishna returned to his gentle form, smiling as a friend once more. So be it, Partha. Now take up your Gandiva, and let the world witness your valor. The dawn of battle. Arjuna lifted his bow, strength flooding back into his arms. His eyes blazed with purpose. Across the battlefield, conchs blared once more, and the earth trembled beneath marching feet. The moment of hesitation had passed. Now began the war of Kurukshetra, with dharma itself as the prize. Chapter 9. The first clash of Kurukshetra. The sun burned at its zenith, casting fire upon the plain of Kurukshetra. After days of tense silence, the moment had come. The two oceans of warriors, Pandavas and Kauravas, stood face to face. Between them stretched the no man's land, a field of destiny, where dharma and adharma would collide. The earth quivered under the weight of countless elephants, horses, and chariots. Flags, bearing divine emblems, whipped violently in the wind. From both armies rose the blare of conchs, the beat of war drums, the rumble of thunder in human form. The first clash was at hand. Bhishma takes the field. At the head of the Kaurava army stood Bhishma Pitamaha, the grandsire of both lines, his white beard flowing, his body clad in gleaming armor. His chariot, adorned with a golden standard, shone like the sun itself. Though age bent his body, his spirit was unbroken, and his bow was drawn with the strength of youth. He raised his conch shell and blew with a sound that seemed to shake the heavens. The Kaurava army erupted with cheers, surging forward like a tidal wave. Today, Bhishma declared, I fight not for hatred nor for greed, but for duty to the throne. Come, O Pandavas, test your valor against mine. Arjuna's answer. Across the field, Arjuna stood upon his chariot with Krishna as his charioteer. The Gandiva bow glowed in his hands, strung with divine purpose. At Krishna's nod, Arjuna lifted his own Kanchidivata, and its cry echoed across the battlefield, filling his allies with courage. The Pandavas surged forward, banners flying high. Bhima roared like a lion, mace raised to the skies. Yudhishthira, eldest of the five, led with calm dignity, his armor shining bright. Nakula and Sahadeva guarded the flanks, swift as falcons. The plain of Kurukshetra became a storm of fury. The clash of titans. The first collision came with thunderous violence. Chariots smashed into chariots, elephants rammed against elephants, and warriors loosed arrows like rain. The air darkened with shafts, each tipped with fire or lightning, cutting down men by the hundreds. Bhishma himself led the charge, his arrows streaking like meteors. None could withstand his wrath. With each shot, 100 Pandava soldiers fell. His skill was unmatched, his eyes blazing with both sorrow and duty. The Pandavas answered in kind. Arjuna loosed his Gandiva, firing so swiftly that his arrows seemed to weave a wall of light. Wherever his shafts struck, Kaurava warriors toppled like trees before the storm. Duel of Masters. Soon the tide brought Bhishma and Arjuna face to face. The two greatest archers of the age locked eyes across the sea of war. Arjuna raised his bow and called out, Grandfather, though my heart grieves, I cannot falter. Dharma commands me to fight, and I shall not withdraw. Bhishma's voice thundered in reply, Arjuna, beloved of my heart, I fight not with anger, but with duty to the throne I have sworn to protect. If you can defeat me, do so. Only then will the world know whose cause is just. The two loosed arrows in unison, shafts colliding midair with sparks like lightning. The battlefield seemed to pause, every eye drawn to the clash of the two titans. The fury of Bhima, while Arjuna battled Bhishma, Bhima the second Pandava unleashed his fury. With mace in hand, he tore through the Kaurava ranks like a tempest. Chariots splintered, elephants crumpled beneath his strikes, and soldiers fled before his wrath. Bhima roared, Duryodhana, come face me if you dare. Let this war end with your fall. But Duryodhana, shielded by his allies, hung back, wary of his cousin's unstoppable rage. His generals rushed forward to halt Bhima, yet one by one they fell before his strength. Chaos across the field. The Kurukshetra plain became a storm of death. Nakula and Sahadeva struck down Shakuni's men with twin precision. Drona, the great master of arms, entered the field, his arrows falling like fire. Yudhishthira, though sworn to truth and peace, fought with quiet ferocity, his sword flashing as he cut down wave after wave of foes. The cries of dying men rose like smoke to the heavens. Blood darkened the soil, and the earth itself seemed to mourn. Krishna's guidance. As Arjuna pressed against Bhishma, doubt flickered once more in his heart. Could he truly slay the grandsire he loved? His arm faltered, but Krishna, holding the reins, leaned close and spoke with fire in his voice. Partha, remember your vow. You fight, not for hatred, but for dharma. Bhishma's time is in the hands of destiny. Strike with all your strength, or your hesitation will doom us all. Arjuna's eyes hardened. He drew the Gandiva once more, and the battle blazed anew. The day's end, the sun dipped toward the horizon, its light stained crimson by the blood-soaked field. Still, the armies clashed, neither yielding, neither broken. At last, as twilight fell, conchs sounded across both lines, calling an end to the day's slaughter. The warriors withdrew to their camps, carrying their dead and tending their wounded. The first day of Kurukshetra had ended, but the war had only just begun, and all knew that tomorrow the storm would rise again, fiercer than before. Chapter 10. The Rise of Drona. The dawn of the second day of Kurukshetra came with a crimson sky, as if the heavens themselves bled in sorrow for the fallen. The Pandavas and the Kauravas, though wearied by the previous day's slaughter, rose once more, armor clattering, conchs echoing, banners rising to the wind. Yet on this day, the command of the Kaurava army shifted. Bhishma, though still formidable, yielded his role as supreme commander to the greatest teacher of arms, Drona, the master of every weapon known to man. Drona takes command. Drona's chariot stood at the heart of the Kaurava army, adorned with the banner of a golden altar. His face was calm, his eyes sharp as the edge of a blade. Though he loved the Pandavas as his own sons, his duty was bound to Hastinapura and to Duryodhana, who had given him honor and power. He raised his bow, the Brahmadanda, and spoke with a voice like iron. Today I shall strike at the very heart of the Pandava. They are my beloved pupils, but war spares no bond. For dharma, for duty, for the throng will not falter. The Kaurava army roared in reply, emboldened by the presence of their master. Pandavas, prepare. In the Pandava camp, Arjuna rose with fire in his heart, determined to face the challenges of the new day. Beside him stood Bhima, restless for battle, and Yudhishthira, calm yet resolute. Krishna, ever watchful, warned, Partha, beware, today. Drona is no ordinary foe. His wisdom in warfare is deeper than the ocean, his mastery beyond compare. Only by unity and resolve can you withstand him. Arjuna bowed, his eyes unshaken. Then let this day test us, for only in the fire of trial is dharma revealed. The storm breaks. At the blowing of conchs, the second day of Kurukshetra ignited. Drona commanded his soldiers into a formation shaped like the Garuda, the divine eagle that devours serpents. Its wings of elephants spread wide, its body of chariots surged forward, and its beak Drona himself pierced straight toward the Pandavas. The ground thundered as thousands marched in perfect unison. The Pandavas countered with a crescent-shaped formation, their brothers holding the flanks, Arjuna and Bhima at the center. Krishna guided Arjuna's chariot, and the clash began. Drona versus Drupada. The first great duel of the day came when Drona's eyes fell upon Drupada, king of Panchala and father of Draupadi. Long ago, Drupada and Drona had been childhood friends, but pride and betrayal had turned them into bitter enemies. Now, fate brought them face to face upon Kurukshetra. Drona roared, his arrows streaking like fire. You who once spurned my friendship, today you shall pay for your arrogance. Drupada replied, with equal fury. Drona, your pride blinds you. No longer am I the boy you once humiliated. Today I fight for justice, for my daughter, for the Pandava. The two rained arrows upon each other, each shot ringing with decades of hatred. Chariots shattered, soldiers fell, and the battlefield around them cleared, as if even war itself feared their enmity. At last, Drona's mastery overwhelmed Drupada, wounding him and forcing him to retreat behind Pandava lines. Yet Drupada lived, his fire unextinguished, vowing revenge. Bhima's rampage. While Drona dueled Drupada, Bhima raged across the battlefield like a storm. His mace swung with the force of mountains, crushing chariots, scattering soldiers like dry leaves. None could stand before his wrath. Duryodhana, enraged, spurred his chariot forward to challenge Bhima, shouting, "Cousin, today I end you, and with you the hopes of the Pandava." But when their weapons clashed, Bhima's fury was too great. Blow after blow rained upon Duryodhana's shield, shattering it and nearly breaking his arm. Only the intervention of Karna and his warriors saved Duryodhana from certain death. Arjuna against his master. The climax of the day came when Arjuna faced Drona. Teacher and pupil, father and son in spirit, now stood as enemies. Drona's arrows cut the sky, forming a net of death. Each shaft was precise, each strike a lesson in war. Arjuna countered with the Gandiva, his hands moving faster than sight, splitting arrows mid-flight, answering fury with fury. Arjuna Drona called, "You are the brightest jewel of my teaching. Show me the power I have given you." Arjuna replied, "Master, I honor you, but today I fight for dharma, not for pride. Forgive me if my arrows strike true." The battlefield froze around them as their duel blazed. Arrows collided with lightning, sparks igniting the sky. Soldiers on both sides stopped to watch, for it was as though gods themselves clashed upon the earth. Neither yielded, neither faltered. Teacher and student were equals, bound by fate and divided by duty. The days told, as the sun began to sink, the field lay covered in the bodies of thousands. Drona's strategy had inflicted heavy losses upon the Pandavas, though their spirit remained unbroken. The warriors of both sides withdrew as twilight called an end to the day's carnage. Fires burned in both camps, and the cries of the wounded filled the night. In the Kaurava camp, Duryodhana rejoiced in Drona's victories, though he burned with shame at his defeat before Bhima. In the Pandava camp, Yudhishthira praised Arjuna's valor, Bhima's fury, and Drupada's resilience, though sorrow weighed upon them for the countless lives lost. Krishna's warning. As silence fell, Krishna spoke to Arjuna beneath the starlit sky. "The war has only begun. Today, Drona has tested you, but darker days await. Do not waver, for soon you shall face foes even mightier, Karna with his celestial weapons, Ashwatthama burning with vengeance, and Bhishma, whose time has not yet come." Arjuna bowed his head. "So be it, Krishna. Whatever fate decrees, I shall face it with the Gandiva in hand." And so ended the second day of Kurukshetra, the day of Drona's rise, of old enmities rekindled, and of the pupil's trial against his master. Chapter 11. Bhishma's relentless wrath. The dawn of the third day rose blood-red over Kurukshetra, the earth trembling beneath the drums of war. The conchs sounded once more, and warriors, weary yet unbroken, took their places. But on this day, it was not Drona who led the charge, nor Karna, nor it was Bhishma, the grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the guardian of Hastinapura, and the greatest warrior alive. Bhishma takes the field. Bhishma stood tall upon his chariot, white-bearded and radiant, yet his eyes burned with divine fire. His banner bore the image of a golden palm tree, swaying proudly in the morning wind. His vow of celibacy had made him unconquerable, his devotion to duty unbreakable. Though his heart loved the Pandavas as grandsons, his loyalty bound him to the throne of Hastinapura. Raising his bow, the Pinaka, he declared, "Today, I, Bhishma, son of Ganga, shall drench this earth in battle. Let the Pandavas come with all their strengths, none shall withstand me until the sun falls." The Kaurava army thundered with joy, emboldened by the might of their grandsire. The Pandavas, unease. In the Pandava camp, the mood was heavy. Yudhishthira gazed toward the Kaurava lines with concern. "Brothers," he said, "Bhishma himself takes the field today. He is invincible, blessed by the gods, sustained by his vow. How shall we withstand him?" Krishna, calm yet grave, replied, "Bhishma is the ocean, deep and boundless. He cannot be defeated by ordinary means. Only his own will can decide when he falls. Until then, Pandavas, you must endure. Fight with courage, for dharma demands no less." Arjuna tightened his grip upon the Gandiva. "If Bhishma must be faced, then I shall not retreat. Today, let the grandsire test me." Bhishma's onslaught. At the signal of drums, Bhishma unleashed his fury. His bow sang like thunder, arrows pouring forth in an endless storm. Each shaft struck trooper-seeing armor, splitting shields, felling elephants, horses, and men with divine precision. Where Bhishma rode, the earth was carpeted in the fallen. His chariot cut through the Pandava lines like fire through dry grass. The Pandava brothers rushed to stop him, but Bhishma's might was beyond mortal measure. Yudhishthira's chariot shattered, his banner torn to pieces. Bhima's massacred charge was halted by Bhishma's arrows, which pierced his armor like lightning-splitting stone. Even Arjuna, greatest archer of the age, found his shafts turned aside, broken mid-flight by Bhishma's divine skill. The Pandava soldiers faltered, their formations breaking beneath Bhishma's relentless wrath. Duel of generations. Arjuna versus Bhishma. Seeing his brothers struggling, Arjuna spurred his chariot forward. Krishna, his eternal charioteer, guided the white steeds with divine grace. Arjuna shouted across the battlefield, "Though I honor you, today I stand for dharma. Forgive me, but I must raise my bow against you." Bhishma's face softened for a moment, his eyes filled with both love and steel. "Arjuna, son of Kunti, jewel of the Pandavas, I love you as my own blood. Yet today, love yields to duty. Come, show me your valor." Their arrows met like lightning colliding in the sky. Bhishma's shafts cut through Arjuna's armor, wounding him deeply. Arjuna's Gandiva loosed 1,000 arrows in reply, but Bhishma shattered them all before they could strike. Krishna urged Arjuna on, "Do not falter. Fight with the fury of Indra's thunderbolt." But Bhishma was unstoppable. With a single volley, he broke Arjuna's bowstring, splintered his chariot, and forced Krishna himself to shield Arjuna with divine power. Krishna's wrath. For a moment, even Krishna's patience shattered. His eyes blazed, and he leaped from the chariot, lifting a broken wheel like the discus of Vishnu himself. "Enough!" Krishna roared. "If you will not fight with all your strength, Arjuna, then I shall strike Bhishma down myself." The battlefield froze in terror, for the sight of Krishna in wrath shook heaven and earth alike. But Bhishma, seeing Krishna approach, dropped his bow and spread his arms wide. "Komi, Umajava. If it is your will to end me, strike. Nothing would bring me greater joy than to fall at your hands." Arjuna, stricken with shame, leaped before Krishna, crying, "No, Lord, do not break your vow for me. I will fight with all my strength, I swear it." Krishna's fury subsided, and he returned to the chariot. Yet the moment revealed the truth. Only Krishna's resolve could hold Arjuna to his destiny. Bhima's counterattack. Elsewhere, Bhima gathered his strength, leading a countercharge of Pandava forces. With mace and sword, he cut through the Kaurava soldiers, roaring like a lion among jackals. Duryodhana rode forth to stop him, but once again Bhima struck him down, shattering his armor and nearly killing him, before Karna's arrows forced Bhima back. Yet even Bhima's fury could not stem the tide of Bhishma's slaughter. The day's end. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, the battlefield was drowned in blood. By Bhishma's hand alone, 10,000 warriors lay slain. Elephants groaned as they fell, horses screamed, and the cries of the dying echoed to the heavens. At last, the conchs blew to signal dusk, and both armies withdrew. The Kauravas celebrated Bhishma's triumph, their spirits lifted by his invincible might. In the Pandava camp, silence reigned. Yudhishthira's face was pale, Bhima's fury dimmed, and even Arjuna bowed his head in shame. Krishna broke the silence. "This war will not end until Bhishma falls. He is the root of their strength, the shield of the... Until he is struck down, your cause cannot triumph." The Pandavas listened in sorrow, knowing the day of Bhishma's fall would demand a sacrifice beyond measure. And thus ended the third day of Kurukshetra, the day of Bhishma's relentless wrath, when the grandsire's power shook the Pandavas to their very core. Chapter 12. The Fury of Abhimanyu. The dawn of the fourth day glowed crimson over Kursh. Dust from the marching armies hung in the air like a veil, and the battlefield, soaked in blood, bore the stench of death. Yet the conchs blared again, calling warriors back to the dreadful dance of destiny. The Pandavas were weary, burdened by Bhishma's onslaught. But on this morning, a new flame kindled among them. Abhimanyu, the young son of Arjuna, and Subhadra, blood of Krishna's sister, heir of the Pandava line. Still but 16, Abhimanyu's spirit was like fire, his arms like thunderbolts, and his courage fierce as a lion's. Abhimanyu rises. In the Pandava camp, Yudhishthira's voice was heavy with doubt. "Brothers, Bhishma has wounded us gravely. Our soldiers tremble at his very name. What hope remains?" Arjuna, silent and wounded from the day before, gazed at his son. Abhimanyu's eyes shone with unshaken resolve. "Father," he said, "you may be tired, but I am young. Today, let me lead. I am no child on the battlefield. Teach me once, and I shall carve a path for..." Krishna smiled faintly, for he saw in Abhimanyu the spark of destiny. "O Prince, son of Arjuna, today your valor shall roar like a storm. Go, and remind the Kauravas that youth can blaze brighter than age." The Pandavas gave their blessings, and Abhimanyu mounted his chariot, guided by steeds white as foam. His banner bore the image of a golden lion, proud and fierce. Abhimanyu's first charge, the conchs of the Pandavas thundered, and Abhimanyu surged forth at the head of the vanguard. Like a storm descending from the mountains, he struck the Kaurava lines. His bow sang like music, arrows loosed with flawless grace. Each shaft found its mark, piercing armor, cutting reins, felling elephants and horsemen alike. The Kaurava soldiers, who had laughed at his youth, now trembled. "It is Arjuna himself," some cried. "No, he is fiercer, swifter, untamed." Bhishma watched with narrowed eyes, his heart torn. The boy fights with the spirit of his father, but he is still a child. Fate has set him upon this path, and it will be cruel. Duel with Duryodhana's brothers. Duryodhana, enraged by Abhimanyu's charge, sent his brothers to crush him. First came Vikarna, loosing arrows like rain. Abhimanyu shattered them mid-flight, striking Vikarna's chariot wheels and forcing him to the ground. Then came Dharmuka, wielding a spear. Abhimanyu cut it in half with a single shaft, then pierced Dharmuka's chest, hurling him senseless to the dust. At last, Dushasana, venomous as ever, roared, "Boy, today you meet death. You shall never leave Kurukshetra alive." Abhimanyu answered with a smile, and in 3 swift arrows, he shattered Dushasana's armor, cut his bowstring, and wounded his arm so deeply that Dushasana fled, bleeding and humiliated. The Pandava army roared in triumph, their spirits lifted by the boy's ferocity. Karna confronts Abhimanyu, but now Karna entered the field, his golden armor gleaming in the sunlight, his bow, the Vijaya, singing with celestial power. "So, young cub," Karna called, "you roar loudly, but before the lion of Unga, you shall be silent." The clash between them shook the heavens. Karna's arrows rained down like fire, but Abhimanyu turned them aside, loosing shafts faster than the eye could follow. Abhimanyu's arrow pierced Karna's shoulder, drawing blood. Karna's counterstroke shattered Abhimanyu's bow. With speed beyond mortal sight, Abhimanyu seized another and another, unyielding. The Kaurava warriors gasped, for never had they seen anyone save Arjuna himself stand so evenly against Karna. At last, Bhishma intervened, loosing a volley that forced Abhimanyu back. "Enough," Bhishma declared. "The boy is no ordinary warrior. Take care, Karna. This lion's cub has fangs." The Pandavas' pride. From their camp, the Pandavas watched Abhimanyu carve through the Kaurava host. Bhima laughed, his voice booming. "Ha! See how the boy scatters them like dry leaves before a storm. Truly, he is my brother's son." Yudhishthira's eyes glistened with hope. Perhaps destiny has sent Abhimanyu to break the fear Bhishma has cast upon us. Arjuna, though proud, was silent, his heart filled with both joy and unease. He knew the boy's courage burned too brightly, and such flames often consumed themselves. Bhishma's dilemma. As the day wore on, Abhimanyu continued his slaughter, striking down thousands. The Kaurava lines buckled beneath his fury. Bhishma's heart ached, for he loved the boy as a grandson. Yet duty chained his hand. "O fate," Bhishma thought, "why do you pit me against those I cherish? Must dharma always demand such pain?" At last, Bhishma raised his bow and unleashed a storm of arrows. Abhimanyu parried them with dazzling skill, his face alight with the fire of youth. The armies paused, watching in awe as the oldest and the youngest of the Kurukshetra warriors clashed a river of experience against the spark of new flame. The day's end. As the sun set, Abhimanyu stood tall, his armor shattered, his body bleeding, but his spirit unbroken. Around him lay heaps of Kaurava soldiers, slain by his hand. Though Bhishma had wounded him, Abhimanyu had endured, retreating only when ordered by Yudhishthira. The Pandava soldiers, once disheartened, now lifted their voices in triumph. "Abhimanyu," they cried. "The lion's cub, the hope of the Pandavas." That night, as the fires burned in both camps, the Kauravas whispered of fear. If such was the son, what hope had they against the father? But in Bhishma's heart lingered a shadow, for he foresaw the boy's destiny. He knew Abhimanyu's flame would blaze brightest before it was snuffed out. And so ended the fourth day of Kurukshetra, the day of Abhimanyu's fury, when a youth's courage shamed the might of seasoned kings. Chapter 13. The Rise of Bhima's Vengeance. The morning of the fifth day of Kurukshetra dawned under a sky choked with smoke. The earth still bore the scars of Abhimanyu's fury, mounds of corpses, shattered chariots, and rivers of blood. Yet the war knew no rest. Again, the conchs of both armies sounded, summoning men to destruction. The Pandavas had gained new hope from Abhimanyu's valor, but Bhishma still loomed like a mountain, unshaken, unyielding. His arrows had humbled princes and slain thousands. The Kauravas drew courage from his presence, while the Pandavas trembled before his power. But now, a new storm rose. The mighty Bhima, second of the Pandava brothers, son of the wind god Vayu, whose strength equaled that of 10,000 elephants. Bhima's oath. As dawn broke, Bhima stood before his brothers, his chest heaving, his eyes blazing red like burning coals. "Brothers," he thundered, "yesterday our nephew, young Abhimanyu, fought like a lion and humbled the Kaurava horde. But still Bhishma crushes us, still Duryodhana mocks us, and still the wicked thrive. No more. Today, I Bhima, son of Vayu, shall shake Kurukshetra to its roots. I shall make the earth drink the blood of Duryodhana's kin. None shall escape my wrath." Yudhishthira, though cautious, nodded solemnly. "Brother, your strength is unmatched. But remember, our dharma must guide your fury. Let no innocent suffer." Bhima laughed harshly, tightening his mace. "On this field, there are no innocents. Only those who chose adharma. Let them face me." Bhima unleashed. The Pandava conchs roared, and Bhima mounted his chariot, his flag bearing the image of a roaring wolf. With him rode fierce warriors and countless soldiers, but none matched his towering presence. As he entered the battlefield, the Kauravas felt the ground tremble beneath the wheels of his chariot. "It is Bhima," they whispered in fear. "The slayer of demons, the breaker of mountains, the wolf-born warrior." Without hesitation, Bhima plunged into the Kaurava ranks. His bow thundered, loosing arrows that struck like meteors. Chariots shattered, horses fell screaming, elephants toppled under his shafts. But when his bowstring snapped from the force of his volleys, Bhima roared with laughter, seized his massive mace, and leaped from his chariot like a lion descending upon prey. The dance of the mace. Bhima swung his mace in a deadly arc, crushing men and steeds alike. Helmets cracked, bones shattered, blood splattered across the dust. 10 of Duryodhana's brothers rushed upon him at once, armed with spears and swords. "Slay the beast," they cried. "End the terror of Bhima." But Bhima was the terror itself. He swung his mace with unstoppable fury. One brother's skull exploded like a ripe fruit. Another was hurled aside, his chest shattered. A third fell beneath Bhima's crushing foot, his breath extinguished in the mud. The others fled in terror, leaving only corpses in their wake. The Pandava soldiers roared in triumph, crying, "Jai Bhima! Jai Bhima!" The storm has risen. Duel with Duryodhana. Enraged by the slaughter of his brothers, Duryodhana himself came forth, armed with a golden mace. His eyes burned with hatred as he bellowed, "Bhima, murderer! Today, I end you." The armies parted as the two titans faced each other, both sons of power, both masters of the mace, bound by destiny to clash. Their weapons struck with a sound like thunder, shaking the battlefield. Sparks flew as iron struck iron. The ground cracked beneath their feet. Soldiers from both sides halted their fighting, mesmerized by the duel. Duryodhana's strikes were fierce and skillful, for he had trained with Bhima under the same masters, but Bhima's strength was unmatched. With each swing, he drove Duryodhana back, his blows heavier than mountains. At last, Bhima struck Duryodhana's chest with such force that his armor buckled, and he staggered, gasping. "Run, coward!" Bhima roared. "This field shall be your grave, as I swore when Draupadi was shamed. I shall not rest until every one of your brothers lies dead at my feet." Before Bhima could strike again, a host of Kaurava warriors rushed to Duryodhana's aid. Karna, Drona, Kripa, and Ashwatthama surrounded him, unleashing a storm of arrows to force Bhima back. Though wounded, Duryodhana was pulled away, saved from certain death. His pride burned hotter than his wounds, for before all men he had been humbled. Bhima's rampage. Denied Duryodhana's death, Bhima's fury only grew. He rampaged through the Kaurava army like a wildfire. He crushed elephants with single blows of his mace. He hurled warriors into the air with his bare hands. He split open chariots, tossing their riders to the ground. The Kaurava soldiers fled before him, their formations shattered. The battlefield was littered with broken bodies wherever Bhima passed. Karna, though valiant, could not halt his advance. Drona too was forced to retreat, for Bhima fought not as a man but as a storm of divine wrath. The Pandavas' resurgence, seeing Bhima's devastation, the Pandava warriors surged forward with renewed courage. Yudhishthira's soldiers pressed the advantage. Nakula and Sahodava struck down Kaurava captains, and the tide of battle shifted. Even Krishna, watching from Arjuna's chariot, smiled faintly. The wind god's son has awakened. Today the Kauravas learned fear. The day's end. By sunset, the battlefield was a graveyard. Thousands of Kaurava warriors lay slain, their bodies crushed or mangled by Bhima's hand. The surviving sons of Dhritarashtra wept with rage and grief, for many of their brothers had fallen. In the Pandava camp, Bhima stood drenched in blood, his eyes still blazing. Yet Yudhishthira placed a hand upon his shoulder and spoke gently. "Brother, you have struck terror into their hearts. But remember, the war is long. Save your strength for destiny, yet demands more of you." Bhima nodded, but in his heart burned only his vow. Not one of Duryodhana's brothers shall live. For Draupadi's tears, I shall wipe them all from the earth. And so ended the 5th day of Kurukshetra, the day of Bhima's vengeance. When the earth shook beneath his fury, and the Kauravas quailed before his might. Chapter 14. The Duel of Bhishma and Arjuna. The 6th dawn of Kurukshetra rose crimson, as though the heavens themselves bled for the earth. The cries of vultures echoed, circling above the battlefield that had become a graveyard. Both armies gathered again, weary yet bound by destiny. At the head of the Kaurava forces stood Bhishma Pitamaha, the grandsire of both clans, his white beard flowing, his banner of the golden palm tree shining against the smoke-filled sky. Though aged, his body gleamed like steel, and his bow sang with unending wrath. The Pandavas, though encouraged by Bhima's fury the day before, trembled anew before Bhishma's might. For none could withstand his arrows. He was the invincible guardian of Hastinapura, warrior, blessed with the boon of choosing the time of his death. And yet destiny demanded that one should face him. Arjuna, son of Indra, guided by Krishna himself. Bhishma's challenge. As the armies arrayed themselves, Bhishma raised his conch and bellowed across the field. "Come forth, O sons of Pandava. Have you no courage to face me? Will you send only Bhima to smash like a beast, while you hide behind his shadow?" Let Arjuna, wielder of Gandiva, face me in battle, if he dares. Let him show if his arrows can pierce the breast of Bhishma." The Kaurava soldiers cheered, emboldened by their grandsire's voice. Even Duryodhana smiled, his pride rekindled. Krishna glanced at Arjuna, whose face was clouded with sorrow. "Partha," Krishna spoke softly, "the time has come. The grandsire must be faced. Only you can stand against him." Arjuna's heart ached. "How can I raise my bow against him, O Madhava? He is our grandfather, the man who raised us, the guardian of our childhood. To wound him would be to wound my own soul." Krishna's eyes hardened. "And yet, Arjuna, if you falter, dharma itself shall fall. Bhishma fights for Adharma now, bound by his oath to the Kauravas. If you do not fight him, your brothers shall perish. Draupadi's insult shall remain unavenged, and righteousness shall be crushed beneath Duryodhana's pride. Remember, you fight not against Bhishma the grandsire, but Bhishma the warrior of Kaurava. Rise, Arjuna, and let destiny be fulfilled." The clash of titans. Thus stirred, Arjuna lifted the Gandiva, its string resounding like thunder. His chariot, bearing the banner of Hanuman, rolled forth, with Krishna as charioteer. Across the field, Bhishma mounted his mighty chariot, his bow shimmering like lightning. The two armies fell silent, for all knew this was no ordinary duel. It was a clash of generations, of teacher and student. Bhishma loosed the first arrow, swift as light, striking Arjuna's chest. Blood blossomed, yet Arjuna did not falter. He answered with a storm of arrows, each a golden streak across the sky. Back and forth they rained destruction. Bhishma's arrows pierced Arjuna's armor, drawing crimson streams. Arjuna's shafts shattered Bhishma's bow again and again, only for the grandsire to seize another with unshaken resolve. The sky darkened beneath their volleys, as though night had fallen at midday. The clash of their arrows resounded like thunderclaps. Horses screamed, the earth quaked, and the watching soldiers, both Kaurava and Pandava, for they beheld a duel of gods. Arjuna's heart falters. Though his aim was true, Arjuna's hands trembled. Each time his arrows struck Bhishma, his heart recoiled. "How can I do this?" he whispered. "Each arrow I loose rends my soul. He is my grandsire, my elder, the man I honor above all." Bhishma, bleeding yet unbowed, smiled grimly across the battlefield. "Arjuna, son of Pandu, why do you hold back? Fight me with your full strength. Show me no mercy, for I shall show you none. To fight me with restraint is to dishonor me, and to dishonor yourself." Still, Arjuna's bow wavered. Krishna's wrath. At last, Krishna's patience broke. His eyes flamed like the sun at the end of time. Throwing aside the reins, he leaped from the chariot, seizing the Sudarshana chakra that gleamed upon his arm. "If you will not slay him, Arjuna," Krishna roared, "then I shall end this myself. For Dharma cannot wait upon your weakness." The battlefield froze as Krishna strode forward, divine weapon blazing, ready to cut down Bhishma with his own hand. Bhishma's eyes widened, not with fear, but with joy. Dropping his bow, he spread his arms wide, and cried, "Koami, Ulorji, fulfill my destiny with your own hand. What greater honor can there be than to fall by the touch of Vishnu himself?" Arjuna, horrified, leaped from his chariot, clutching Krishna's feet. "Stop, Madhava. Do not break your vow. You swore you would not lift a weapon in this war. If you strike him now, the world itself shall call you forsworn. I beg you spare both him and yourself this dishonor." Krishna's fury cooled, and with a heavy sigh he returned to the chariot. So be it, Arjuna. But if you falter again, I shall not stay my hand. Arjuna awakens. Shamed and stirred, Arjuna's spirit blazed anew. He drew back the Gandiva with all his might, unleashing a storm of arrows unlike any before. His shafts pierced Bhishma's armor, tearing flesh and spilling blood. He shattered Bhishma's chariot, slaying his horses and shattering his banners. Though Bhishma fought valiantly, his body now bore hundreds of wounds, his armor rent, his blood staining the earth. And yet, the grandsire smiled through the pain. Yes, Arjuna, at last, you honor me with your true strength. The day's end, as the sun dipped low, conchs sounded, ending the day's slaughter. Both armies drew back, leaving Bhishma and Arjuna still standing, their bodies pierced, their spirits unbroken. Bhishma returned to the Kaurava camp, his wounds bound, yet his resolve unshaken. He had withstood the might of Arjuna, and still he lived. Arjuna returned to his brothers, weary and bleeding. Krishna looked upon him with stern compassion. Remember this day. You cannot win this war with half a heart. Love binds you, but dharma demands you fight with all your being. Only then shall victory be ours. And thus ended the 6th day of Kurukshetra, the day when Bhishma and Arjuna, grandsire and grandson, teacher and disciple, clashed in a battle that shook the heavens. Chapter 15. The Fall of Bhishma. The 7th dawn of Kurukshetra arrived, yet the field was already drenched in the memories of countless deaths. Smoke drifted over broken chariots, vultures circled above, and the cries of widows echoed in the wind. But all hearts, Pandava and Kaurava alike, turned toward one Mantha, grandsire Bhishma Pitamaha, who still stood unconquered, unshaken, a mountain amid the storm of war. His presence alone shielded the Kauravas, for while Bhishma lived, none could dream of victory for the Pandavas. Duryodhana clung to this truth like a drowning man to driftwood. Yet within the Pandava camp, despair spread. 6 days had passed, and still Bhishma's arrows darkened the skies. Arjuna, though unmatched in valor, could not bring himself to slay the elder he revered. Each battle ended with Bhishma bloodied but unbowed, while the Pandavas bled hope. That night, the Pandavas turned to Krishna. Krishna reveals the secret. Madhava, Yudhishthira, asked, "How can we defeat Bhishma? He is invincible, blessed, and cannot be slain by any ordinary means. Unless he falls, victory is but a dream." Krishna's gaze grew solemn. Bhishma is no ordinary man, O Dharmaraja. He was blessed by his father with the boon of choosing the moment of his death. Neither man nor God can slay him against his will. But know, this Bhishma has sworn never to raise a weapon against a woman, nor against one who was once a woman. The brothers exchanged confused looks until Krishna's meaning struck them. All eyes turned to Shikandi, son of Draupadi, born female but transformed into male by fate. If Shikandi stands before Bhishma, Krishna continued, the grandsire will not fight. Then Arjuna may strike, and destiny shall be fulfilled. A silence fell upon the Pandava. To use Shikandi as a shield seemed cruel, yet Dharma demanded sacrifice. Yudhishthira lowered his head. So be it. Let this plan be carried out tomorrow. The battle begins. The next day, Bhishma once more led the Kaurava hosts. His bow loosed death in torrents, scattering the Pund. None could match his fury. He seemed a god of war incarnate. But then the Pandava conchs roared, and a new formation advanced. At its head rolled Arjuna's chariot, bearing not only Krishna, but also Shikandi, armed and grim. Bhishma saw them and understood at once. His eyes softened, though his smile remained fierce. "Ah, so it is destiny," he murmured. "Come then, Arjuna. Come with Shikandi before you. I shall not raise my hand against one who was once a woman. Let the will of the gods be done." The final duel, the battle stilled as all eyes turned to this single chariot. Bhishma stood tall, bow lowered, while Shikandi loosed arrows that clattered harmlessly upon his armor. He made no move to strike back. Arjuna's hands shook upon the Gandiva. "How can I do this? How can I bring down the man who raised me, who taught me, who is the very soul of honor?" Krishna's voice thundered beside him. "Martha, this is not the time for weakness. Bhishma himself desires this end, for he fights bound by oath to Dharma. Strike, strike now, and free him from his bonds, free Dharma from its chains." Arjuna's eyes filled with tears, but his arm steadied. With Shikandi shielding him, he drew the Gandiva to its full might and unleashed a storm. Arrow after arrow rained upon Bhishma, piercing his flesh, shattering his armor. The grandsire stood unflinching, accepting each shaft with dignity, until his body bristled with wounds like a porcupine. Blood drenched him, yet his eyes shone with peace. At last, with a final cry to the heavens, Bhishma fell not upon the earth, but upon a bed of arrows that held his body aloft, each shaft a cruel throne. The grandsire's blessing, a gasp shook the battlefield. Both armies, Pandava and Kaurava, lowered their weapons. For though Bhishma had fallen, his majesty remained untouched. Lying upon his arrow bed, he seemed a god resting upon a bed of fire, radiant even in suffering. Duryodhana rushed to his side, weeping. "Grandsire, you cannot leave us now. Without you, we are lost." Bhishma raised a hand, silencing him. "Do not weep. This is the will of destiny. I chose this moment, and none could hasten it. You still have warriors to fight for you, Karna, Drona, and others. But heed this, child. Dharma cannot triumph forever. Walk the path of righteousness, or doom shall claim you." Then he turned to the Pandavas. "Come, my children. Let me bless you before my breath fades." Arjuna approached, tears flowing. He knelt beside the grandsire. "Forgive me, Pitama. My heart is torn. Though I struck you, my soul bleeds with grief." Bhishma's hand, trembling yet gentle, touched his brow. "Do not weep, Arjuna. You did not slay my chose to fall by your hand. You are the instrument of fate. Remember this, a warrior's dharma is to fight, but always for righteousness. You shall bring victory, but let compassion guide your heart." The unyielding life, yet Bhishma did not die that day. Bound by his boon, he lingered upon the bed of arrows, refusing to release his soul until the auspicious hour of Uttarayana, when the sun began its northward journey. Thus, though struck down, he remained a pillar of wisdom, awaiting the moment to leave his mortal shell. Both armies visited him, seeking counsel, for even fallen, Bhishma's words were law. And so ended the reign of Bhishma, upon the battlefield, fallen not by defeat, but by destiny, honored by friend and foe alike. His fall marked a turning tide in the war, for, with the grandsire gone, the Pandavas could glimpse the first light of victory. Chapter 16. The Rise of Karna. The battlefield of Kurukshetra had fallen silent after Bhishma's fall. Even the winds seemed to mourn, whispering through the broken chariots and torn banners. For 7 days, Bhishma had stood as the unshakable wall of the Kauravas, and now he lay upon his bed of arrows, waiting for the hour of his final departure. In the Kaurava camp, despair weighed heavy. Soldiers murmured that without Bhishma, the war was lost. Duryodhana, his pride wounded, looked upon his generals with desperate eyes. Drona was mighty, Kripa wise, Ashwathama fierce, but none bore the aura of invincibility that Bhishma had commanded. And so, the moment had come for another long-awaited warrior to rise, Karna, son of the sun. The meeting of Duryodhana and Karna. That night, under a pale moon, Duryodhana entered Karna's tent. The warrior sat, sharpening his arrows, his golden armor glinting with firelight. "Friend," Duryodhana said, his voice weary, "our grandsire has fallen. The Pandavas rejoice, believing victory is near. Who will protect me now?" Karna looked up, his eyes burning like embers. "Did I not swear to you, O Duryodhana, that as long as I breathe, none shall harm you? While Bhishma fought, I held back, for he vowed never to fight while I stood beside him. But now, the grandsire rests. The time has come for me to unleash my power." Duryodhana clasped his hands in gratitude. "Then tomorrow, let the world witness the true fire of Karna. Let the Pandavas tremble at your arrows." Karna's lips curled into a grim smile. "Tomorrow, the battlefield shall burn. I swear by Surya, my father, I will not return until Arjuna lies slain or I fall upon the field." Karna enters the battlefield. The sun rose, and with it rose Karna. He rode into battle in a golden chariot, gifted by the god Indra, with wheels that sparkled like suns and horses swift as the wind. His armor gleamed, born of divine craft, making him untouchable. When the Kaurava soldiers saw him, their despair turned to hope. They cried his name as though he were a god descended. "Karna, Karna has come." Across the field, the Pandavas stiffened. Yudhishthira whispered, "The time has come. Our brother, in truth, though enemy in fate, has entered the war." Only Arjuna's face hardened. His heart pounded, for he knew destiny had led him toward a duel with Karna, a rival, equal in valor and unmatched in hatred. The wrath of the son of Surya, Karna's bow, sang a song of destruction. His arrows fell like meteors, tearing through Pandava ranks, shattering chariots, and felling elephants with ease. He struck down warriors by the hundreds, his fury like a storm. Bhima charged, roaring, mace in hand. Karna's arrow pierced his chariot, splintering it to dust. Yet Bhima leaped free, charging again, only to be driven back by a rain of shafts. Nakula and Sahadeva rushed together, but Karna broke their bows in an instant, forcing them to retreat under Krishna's command. "See!" Karna shouted, his voice carrying over the clash of steel. "Without Bhishma, you thought the war was yours. But now, Karna stands before you. Today, your dreams of victory shall die." The clash with Arjuna. Arjuna could bear it no longer. Guided by Krishna, he urged his chariot forward, the Gandiva bow glowing in his hands. Partha Krishna warned, "This is no ordinary battle. Karna is your equal, born of the same divine spark. Only your skill, guided by dharma, can prevail." The two warriors faced each other across the field, and silence fell. Even the armies paused, for they knew this duel was written in the stars. Karna spoke first, his voice dripping with scorn. "Arjuna, at last we meet. For years, the world has compared us who is greater, Karna or Arjuna. Today, destiny shall decide. One of us will not leave this field alive." Arjuna's eyes burned, but his voice was steady. "Brother or foe, it matters not. This is Kurukshetra, where dharma decides all. If you stand with Duryodhana, then you stand against righteousness. Today, my arrows shall answer your pride." And so the heavens shook, as the two greatest archers of the age loosed their shafts. Arrow met arrow in midair, bursting into fire. Lightning clashed with thunder as their weapons tore the sky. The earth trembled beneath their chariots, and the watching armies gasped in awe. Krishna's warning. But as the battle raged, Krishna's eyes narrowed. "Partha," he said quickly, "beware. Karna still wears the Kavaka Kandala, the divine armor and earrings given by the sun. No weapon can pierce him as long as he bears them. Fate has yet to strip him of his protection." Arjuna's heart clenched, realizing the truth. For though he fought with all his might, Karna stood unharmed, each arrow glancing off his golden skin. "Patience, Arjuna," Krishna whispered. "His hour has not yet come. When fate strips him bare, then your victory shall shine. Until then, fight to hold him, not to slay him." The day's end. For hours they battled, neither yielding, until the sun dipped toward the horizon. The field lay littered with the fallen, but still Karna and Arjuna fought like gods of destruction. At last, by the law of war, conchs blew to signal the day's end. Both armies withdrew, leaving the duel unfinished. Karna stood in his golden chariot, breathing hard, his eyes locked on Arjuna. "Tomorrow," he called, "this ends. Tomorrow, the world shall know the greater warrior." Arjuna lowered his bow, his soul heavy. Krishna placed a hand on his shoulder. "Do not fear, Partha. Destiny walks beside us. The sun himself cannot shield Karna forever. His fall is written. Trust in dharma, and victory shall be yours." The field of Kurukshetra darkened with night, but all hearts burned with one thought. The war had entered its deadliest phase, for Karna had risen, and the world trembled at his wrath. Chapter 17. The Duel of Brothers. The battlefield of Kurukshetra awoke once more beneath a blood-red dawn. Dust still clung to the air from the day before, and the cries of widows echoed faintly in the distance. Yet as the conchs blew, summoning warriors to arms, every eye turned not to the countless soldiers, but to two figures whose duel had begun to shape the destiny of the world: Arjuna and Karna. Karna's oath. That morning, Karna stood before Duryodhana. His golden armor gleamed in the rising sun, but his face was grim, his resolve unshaken. "Friend," Karna said, "yesterday I tasted Arjuna's skill, and I swear to you, today I shall break him. The Pandavas believe they are guided by destiny, but I will show them the power of will, of loyalty, of rage. By the blood of my enemies, I shall lift your throne above them all." Duryodhana grasped Karna's hands. "You are my hope, Radha. My other generals fight for duty or bloodline, but you fight for me. Strike down Arjuna, and the crown of Hastinapura is mine." And so Karna mounted his chariot, his heart burning with both pride and bitterness. For deep within him lingered the truth he had long carried. He was the firstborn son of Kunti, brother to the very men he now swore to kill. The whisper of destiny. In the Pandava camp, Kunti herself trembled. The night before, she had visited Karna in secret, begging him to abandon Duryodhana and join his brothers. "You are my son," she had whispered, tears falling. "Born of Surya before my marriage, cast away in shame. You are elder to Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and by right, the throne of Hastinapura is yours. Do not fight them. Join them. Be their leader." But Karna's reply had been as immovable as stone. "Mother, you abandoned me when I was helpless. Duryodhana raised me when the world mocked me. I cannot betray him now. But hear this, though I fight them, I promise I will not strike Yudhishthira, Bhima, Nakula, or Only Arjuna shall feel my arrows. For destiny has decreed, one of us must fall. Kunti wept, knowing her words had failed. As dawn rose, she prayed silently. O gods, if fate must take one, let it be swift. Spare my son's needless suffering. The armies watch. The battle surged once more, but the armies seemed to fight only in shadow. All eyes strained toward the center, where Karna and Arjuna's chariots faced each other once again. Krishna guided Arjuna's reins, his eyes calm yet unblinking. Partha, he murmured, today the duel of destiny begins in earnest. Remember, Karna is your equal in skill, perhaps even greater in sheer power. But he fights with pride and anger, while you fight with that is the weapon that shall decide all. Arjuna nodded, though his heart was heavy. For though Karna had always been his rival, some part of him felt the strange pull of kinship and echo of blood he did not yet know. The clash renewed. Once more, the bows sang. Karna's Vijaya bow thundered like a storm, while Arjuna's Gandiva shone like lightning. Arrows streaked through the sky, colliding with thunderous roars, splintering into fire. Karna struck first, unleashing a torrent that darkened the sky. Arjuna countered with shafts of light, cutting down each arrow before it reached him. The earth quaked beneath their duel. Horses collapsed, pierced by stray arrows. Elephants fled in terror. Warriors on both sides stopped fighting, staring in awe as the two men wove death into the air. Arjuna, Karna roared, today I will humble you before the world. Without Krishna, you are nothing. Let me prove it stand alone, and see how swiftly I destroy you. Arjuna answered, his voice like steel. Karna, you speak of honor, yet you fight for you serve a friend blinded by greed and cruelty. You are mighty, but your cause is hollow. Even if your arrows strike me down, dharma will rise again. That is your curse. Karna's secret torment. As they fought, Karna's mind burned with memories. His childhood of mockery, branded a charioteer's son, denied the respect his talent deserved. His humiliation at Draupadi's Swayamvara, when she refused him for his supposed low birth. His eternal rivalry with Arjuna, whose every triumph deepened his wounds. And yet, another memory stabbed his heart. Kunti's tearful face, whispering, "You are my firstborn." For the first time, Karna hesitated. His bow lowered by a fraction, his heart torn between the mother who abandoned him and the friend who stood by him. But rage returned swiftly, and with it his resolve. No, he told himself. I chose my path. I will not turn back. Krishna's insight. Krishna watched silently, his divine eyes seeing deeper than mortal sight. This is the tragedy of Karna, he thought. A hero bound by loyalty to a doomed cause. A brother to those he must slay, yet denied the embrace of family. In his greatness lies his downfall. To Arjuna, he whispered aloud, "Do not pity him, Partha. His fate is sealed, and it is through your hand that destiny must unfold. Fight not with hatred, but with clarity. For this is not merely your duel, it is the duel of dharma against adharma." The day's deadlock. From dawn until dusk, Karna and Arjuna clashed. Each time Karna seemed to gain the upper hand, Arjuna's skill matched him. Each time Arjuna pressed forward, Karna's strength threw him back. At last, as the sun dipped low, conchs blew to end the day. The armies withdrew, exhausted, leaving the duel unfinished yet again. Karna stood tall upon his chariot, his golden armor glowing in the dying light. His voice thundered across the field. Tomorrow, Arjuna, tomorrow, Destiny shall decide between us. One of us will not see another dawn. Arjuna lowered his bow, his face grim but resolute. Krishna urged the chariot back toward the Pandava camp, speaking softly, "His hour approaches. Even the sun cannot shield him forever. When the time comes, Partha, strike without hesitation, for it is not merely your life, but the fate of all that hangs in the balance." The world held its breath, for the greatest duel in history was nearing its climax. Chapter 18. The Curse of Karna. The night after the great duel, the Kaurava camp was restless. Fires flickered against the dark sky, but no warmth could soften the tension. Every soldier knew the war had reached its peak, and tomorrow, fate would claim its toll. In the midst of this silence, Karna sat alone, his armor glowing faintly in the firelight, his bow resting across his knees. He closed his eyes, and the echoes of the past came rushing back. The first curse, the Brahman's wrath. Years before, in his youth, Karna had burned with the desire to learn archery beyond all limits. Denied entry to Drona's school because of his birth, he sought out Parashurama, the fierce teacher who despised Kshatriya. To gain his instruction, Karna lied, presenting himself as a humble Brahmin. For years, he trained under Parashurama, mastering weapons, absorbing every secret. But one afternoon, while Parashurama rested his head upon Karna's lap, a deadly insect bit deep into Karna's thigh. Blood poured down, yet Karna bore the pain silently, unwilling to disturb his guru's sleep. When Parashurama awoke and saw the wound, he knew the truth. No Brahmin could endure such agony without flinching. He thundered, "You are a Kshatriya, and you deceived me." Karna bowed his head. "Guru, I sought only knowledge. Forgive me." But Parashurama's heart, though pained, hardened. "Because of your deceit, the knowledge I gave you shall betray you at the moment you need it most. When you face your greatest battle, your memory of divine weapons shall fail you." That curse rang in Karna's ears, now like the toll of doom. He clenched his fists, and tomorrow, that battle comes. The second curse, the Brahman's cow. Another memory surfaced, darker still. One day, while practicing his aim, Karna loosed an arrow that struck down a Brahman's cow. The poor animal collapsed, its eyes wide with agony. The Brahmin rushed forward, grief and rage burning in his heart. "You killed my innocent cow without cause," he cried. "May your chariot wheels sink into the earth when you face death, leaving you helpless before your enemy." Karna had tried to apologize, but the curse had already sealed his fate. Now, as he stared at the ground beneath him, he imagined the wheel of his chariot sinking into the soil of Kurukshetra. The third curse, the forgotten incantation. There was another, to an encounter with a young maiden he wronged by mistake. Believing she was an enemy warrior, Karna had struck her down, only to learn she was innocent. With her dying breath, she cursed him. "When you fight for your life, you shall forget the incantations of the very weapon you seek to summon." And so, curse upon curse, wrapped around him like chains. Karna's solitude, alone in the night, Karna whispered into the darkness, "O gods, why do you mock me? I have fought with honor. I have given to the poor. I have never turned from a challenge. Yet because of my birth, because of fate, I am condemned to die, cursed. Why must destiny favor Arjuna and not me?" But the heavens were silent. Only the stars watched, cold and distant. Krishna's forewarning. In the Pandava camp, Arjuna sat awake, turning his bowstring in his hands. Sleep evaded him. Krishna stood nearby, gazing at the same stars that mocked Karna. "Arjuna," Krishna said softly, "know this, Karna is not just your rival. He is your elder brother, son of Kunti, abandoned at birth. Arjuna froze, shock tearing through him. My brother. Impossible. Then why? Why has he sworn to kill me? Krishna's voice was heavy with sorrow. Because life dealt him cruelty where it gave you privilege. He fights not only for Duryodhana, but against the injustice of fate itself. But understand his greatness is shadowed by curses he cannot escape. Tomorrow, when his wheel sinks into the earth, when his memory fails him, that is your moment to strike. Do not falter, for this war demands his end. Arjuna bowed his head, torn between duty and compassion. If he is my brother, then his death will weigh upon me forever. So it must be, Krishna answered. Dharma is not without sorrow. Remember Partha, even in tragedy, destiny must be fulfilled. The dawn of doom, as the first light of dawn crept over Kurukshetra, Karna readied himself. His golden armor still gleamed, but within, his heart bore the weight of curses. Duryodhana clasped his hands one last time, whispering, "Friend, today you must." Karna smiled faintly. "I will, or I will die trying. But know this, Duryodhana, whatever happens, I stood by you to the end." As he climbed into his chariot, the ground beneath seemed to tremble, as if already eager to claim him. The omen, when the conchs blew, announcing the start of another day's slaughter, a dark omen swept across the sky. The sun dimmed behind a veil of clouds, and vultures circled high above. Warriors whispered in fear. But Karna looked only toward Arjuna's chariot, where Krishna held the reins. He lifted his bow, and his voice rang out, "Arjuna, today one of us shall fall, and the world shall never forget it." And deep within, though he did not show it, Karna felt the pull of destiny tighten around him. The curses of old were gathering, ready to strike. Chapter 19. The Final Duel. The sun blazed high over Kurukshetra, its golden light spilling across the blood-soaked earth. From every corner of the battlefield, warriors paused, for all knew the moment had come, the clash between Arjuna, the greatest archer of the Pandavas, and Karna, the champion of the Kauravas. Even the winds seemed to hush, waiting. The meeting of rivals. Karna's chariot rolled forward, its wheels crushing the dust of war. His golden armor shimmered, and his bow, the Vijaya, glowed with deadly power. Opposite him, Arjuna's chariot, driven by Krishna, stood unshaken. Gandiva, Arjuna's bow, gleamed like lightning in his hands. The two locked eyes across the field. "Arjuna!" Karna roared, his voice carrying across the silence. "Today, I will prove that destiny does not favor the privileged alone. The world shall see who is the true warrior." Arjuna raised his bow slowly, his expression firm. "Brother or enemy, I cannot hesitate. The world bleeds because of this war, and one of us must fall today." Krishna held the reins, silent, though his gaze never left Karna. The opening exchange, with a thunderous cry, Karna unleashed a volley of arrows that blazed like fire. They streaked through the air, striking Gandiva's string, shattering Arjuna's flagstaff, and splitting the sky itself. Arjuna answered swiftly, his arrows weaving into walls of light, breaking Karna's shafts before they could strike. His return fire cut down Karna's bowstring, but in a flash, Karna restrung Vijaya and fired again. The ground trembled with the clash, as arrow met arrow, thunder met lightning, fire met storm. Soldiers on both sides stopped fighting, mesmerized by the duel of gods among men. Karna's power. Karna called upon celestial weapons. He unleashed the Naga Astra, serpent-like arrows that hissed through the air. One struck Arjuna's chest with such force that Gandiva trembled in his grip. Arjuna staggered, his breath sharp. But Krishna urged him on. Steady, Partha. Do not falter. Remember, you fight not just for victory, but for dharma itself. Arjuna steadied his aim and countered with the Anjalika Astra, forcing Karna back. For a moment, Karna's chariot reeled under the force of the attack, but he refused to yield. Do you see, Krishna? Karna cried. I am no lesser man. I fight for my honor, not your Pandava throne. Krishna's eyes darkened. And yet, Karna, the weight of your curses walks with you. The first curse strikes. As Karna reached for the Brahmastra, the divine weapon meant to end all, his mind faltered. The mantras slipped from his memory, vanishing like smoke in the wind. He froze, panic rising. Why? Why can I not recall it? In that instant, he remembered Parashurama's curse. When you need my teaching most, it shall fail you. His heart burned with fury, but he pressed on. The wheel sinks. The battle raged, and Karna fired arrow after arrow, each one fierce, each one desperate. But then, as his chariot rolled across the torn battlefield, one wheel sank deep into the mud. The horses strained, the driver pulled, but it would not move. Not now. Karna shouted, leaping down to lift it. His muscles strained, veins bulged, but the earth itself seemed to hold it fast. And again, the memory struck. The Brahman's curse. May your chariot wheel sink into the earth when you face death. Sweat poured down his brow as he shouted across the field. Arjuna, warriors do not strike a man when he is helpless. Give me time to free my wheel, and then we shall fight once more. Krishna's command. Arjuna hesitated, lowering his bow. Compassion stirred within him. Was it right to strike a man struggling with fate itself? But Krishna's voice thundered beside him. Arjuna, do you remember Abhimanyu, slain mercilessly by Karna and the others, while weaponless, trapped, and outnumbered? Did Karna grant him mercy? No, dharma is not kindness to adharma. Strike now, for this is destiny itself. Arjuna's grip tightened. His heart was torn, but the truth of Krishna's words could not be denied. The last plea. Karna straightened, mud smeared across his arms, sweat and blood dripping down his face. He raised his hands, unarmed, defiant. I am Karna, son of the sun. Though cursed, though scorned, though denied by birth, I stood tall. Strike, if you must, Arjuna, but know, this my honor will not fall with me. The earth held its breath. The final arrow, Krishna whispered. Now Arjuna, end this. Arjuna lifted Gandiva, his hands trembling. He drew the string back, summoning the Anjalika Astra, its light blazing like 1,000 suns. For a heartbeat, he met Karna's eyes, full of defiance, sorrow, and unbroken pride. Then he released. The arrow tore through the air, piercing Karna's chest. The impact shook the battlefield. Karna staggered, his body collapsing, yet his face remained serene. His eyes lifted to the sky as if speaking to Sura, the sun god, his true father. I fought, as I must. Forgive me. And with that, the great Karna fell, the earth trembling, as though mourning him. Aftermath. The Kauravas cried out in despair, their champion gone. In the Pandava camp, silence reigned, for even in victory, no joy could rise. Arjuna stood motionless, Gandiva lowered. His chest ached, not with pride, but with grief. Krishna placed a hand on his shoulder. Do not weep. You did not kill a Manu, fulfilled destiny. Even gods cannot escape fate. But Arjuna's heart whispered otherwise. He had slain, not just a rival, but his own brother. Chapter 20. Karna's death and Arjuna's grief. The sun dipped lower on the horizon, its rays blood-red as if mourning the fallen hero. The battlefield of Kurukshetra lay silent for the first time in days. Even the clash of steel, the cries of war, had ceased, for the news had spread like wildfire. Karna, the invincible, had fallen. The silent battlefield, Arjuna stood frozen, Gandhava limp in his hands. The dust swirled around him, but he felt no breath of wind, no weight of earth. His arrow had struck, his rival lay dead, but instead of triumph, an emptiness carved into his heart. Krishna, ever calm, watched quietly. He knew what storm raged in Arjuna's chest, yet he said nothing. Some truths could not be softened. Why then, Arjuna whispered, staring at Karna's still body, why does victory taste like ash? The Kauravas' grief. From the Kaurava lines came a wail. Duryodhana, Karna's dearest friend, stumbled forward, his armor torn, his face streaked with grief. He fell to his knees beside Karna's body, clutching his hand. Brother, Duryodhana cried, without you, what hope remains? You were my shield, my strength, the fire that kept me standing. What is a throne to me now, when you lie cold? His cries carried across the battlefield, and many Kaurava warriors lowered their heads, their weapons slipping from their hands. Even hardened soldiers wept, for Karna's courage had earned the respect of friend and foe alike. Arjuna's torment. Arjuna turned away, unable to bear the sight. His chest tightened, his throat burned. He had fought as Dharma demanded, as Krishna commanded, but his soul recoiled. Krishna, he muttered, did I slay a foe, or did I destroy a part of myself? His eyes, they were not the eyes of a monster. They were the eyes of a man like me. Krishna's gaze was steady. Yes, Arjuna, he was a man like you, born of the same mother, sharing the same blood. Fate played cruelly with him, and he walked a path of fire. But remember, it was his choice to stand with You struck not Karna, but destiny itself. The words struck Arjuna like a blade. The same mother? He repeated, confused. But Krishna did not answer yet. The Pandavas react. News reached the Pandava camp swiftly. Yudhishthira closed his eyes as if the weight of the world pressed upon him. Bhima clenched his fists, torn between triumph and sorrow, while the twins, Nakula and Sahadeva, sat in silence, their hearts unsettled. Karna fought with honor to the very end. Yudhishthira murmured, I cannot rejoice in this. A warrior such as he deserved more than death in the mud. Bhima growled, his grief masked in anger. He stood against us, brother. He struck down Abhimanyu without pity. And yet, his voice broke, and he could not finish. Kunti's secret. In the quiet of her tent, Kunti, mother of the Pandavas, wept. She had known this moment would come, yet her heart shattered nonetheless. For Karna was not just a warrior, nor merely an enemy, he was her firstborn son, abandoned at birth, raised without the truth of his lineage. She had begged him before the war to join the Pandavas, to reveal his birthright. But Karna had refused, bound by loyalty to My Karna, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. You lived unloved, yet you shone brighter than the sun. And now, you are gone, slain by your own brother. This is my curse, as much as yours. Krishna reveals the truth. Later, as the Pandavas gathered around Krishna, he finally spoke the truth Arjuna had sensed. Arjuna, Krishna said gently, you wonder why grief consumes you. It is because Karna was no stranger. He was your elder brother, the first son of Kunti, abandoned at birth, yet destined for greatness. The same blood flowed in your veins. The Pandavas gasped, their faces pale with shock. Arjuna staggered back, as if struck. My brother. The man I hated, the man I killed, was my brother. His voice cracked, filled with anguish. Yudhishthira pressed his hands to his face, tears spilling. If only we had known. If only Mother had spoken sooner. Arjuna's grief. Arjuna fell to his knees, the weight of the truth crushing him. The memory of Karna's eyes in those final moments haunted him, that now he knew were filled not only with pride, but with unspoken kinship. I killed my brother, he whispered, broken. Not an enemy, not a rival. My own flesh and blood. How can Dharma forgive this? Krishna placed a hand on his shoulder. Arjuna, you did not kill your brother. You fulfilled fate. Karna knew the truth, yet he chose loyalty over blood. His path was his own, and yours was to oppose him. In death, he stands honored, not disgraced. Do not let sorrow consume you. But Arjuna could not be comforted. His heart ached with the weight of both love and regret, for he had slain not just a warrior, but the brother he never knew. The earth weeps. As night fell, the heavens themselves seemed to mourn. Clouds gathered, and a soft rain washed over the battlefield, mingling with the blood of countless warriors. It was as if the gods wept for Karna, the son of the sun, whose life was bound in tragedy. Even in death, his body glowed faintly, as though Surya himself had wrapped his fallen child in light. The Pandavas and Kauravas alike felt the emptiness his absence left behind. For in Karna's fall, the war lost not just a hero, but its brightest flame. Closing scene. Arjuna sat alone long into the night, his bow laid aside. He stared into the dark, hearing only the echo of Karna's final words. Strike if you must, Arjuna, but know, this my honor will not fall with me. And though Karna lay dead, those words lived on, a reminder that some rivalries are written not in hatred, but in the cruel poetry of fate.